What inspired the sneaker choices today?
For me, I just want to kind of be kind of clean. I'm a guy that really like to, be flashy a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I think Louboutin speaks to me a lot.
I feel you,
I'm
Alicia.
loving the neutrals of the Travis, and I was going to wear mine. We was going to be twinning today, but I had to keep it low. The highs.
I just went with the Pata Air Max because I haven't seen too many people with these ones, and yeah,
I'm
had
a
to
big
break
Air
them
Max
out one
One
time.
fan. I'm a big Air Max One fan, so I peep. Well, I definitely want to take some time for you all to introduce yourselves, let the audience get to know you a little bit. So, Dennis, let's start with you. Tell them a little bit about yourself. What brought you to Portland, etc.
Yeah, I'm Dennis Dixon. I'm originally from Oakland, California. I played at the University of Oregon. I was a quarterback there from '03 to '07. Shortly after that, went to the NFL to play for about 7 years.
You did a lot in those 7 years.
Retired in 15, then brought me back to Portland to work for the Jordan brand for about 3.5 years. And this is why I'm here still.
Love it. Yeah, y'all make some noise. Alicia, how about yourself?
I'm learning something just from you saying that. We got to chat after. But I'm Alicia Pinkney. I just moved to Portland a year ago tomorrow. I'm originally from West Philadelphia, born and raised by the playgrounds where I spent most of my days. However, I haven't lived in Philly in almost 10 years. I was overseas in Switzerland and Italy for the past 6 years. And my career as a designer, 9 to 5, has brought me to Portland with Jordan Brand, actually. So,
wow, there's a connection. Yeah. Spoon, how about you?
I'm a local dude, hip hop artist, independent hip hop artist, born and raised here. Yep. Hometown hero, you know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Yeah, I'm just a aspiring artist, dad, and I have other entrepreneurial businesses going for myself. So, yeah.
Love it, man. So one of the things I love to do is get a sense to what were the earliest connections that inspired you all to be in the journeys that you're in right now, right? Be in that evolution that you're in. Alicia, I wanted to start with you in your deep connection to fashion. Aligns very much with your career right now, but what was the earliest, inspiration behind that? What was that earliest connection that you can remember?
I feel like art and design and fashion and music and all that kind of stuff was always embedded in me from early childhood. I was that one getting the Rose Art suitcases every Christmas since I was like 5 years old. Painting, drawing, everything. My grandfather was like a Renaissance man who sold, painted, sang, did all the things.
Wow.
So for me, I was just always embedded in that artsy world. I used to play dress up a lot, typically, and I remember having this distinct picture of me in like a tutu and like a turban at like 6 years old. Like I just really love to be creative. And my brain works on both the left and right. So I was able to thrive in school like mathematically, but also use my very creative skill and balance the two of them. And I think I landed like a career that allowed me to still be very technical, but also very creative at the same time.
Yeah, I love that. And it's very rare that you get, both sides of the brain and being able to like use them in a productive way. Now, when you talk about those interests growing up, how did your family respond to that? I know you mentioned your grandfather, but like, how did, your immediate family, your parents respond to those interests of yours?
I was the baby of the family, so anything that I wanted, they kind of was like, okay. So I think from that, it wasn't no shock that I wanted to be in art. So, but it was also no shock that I was smart as well in school. So when I decided to go the art route, they didn't give me a hard time. They actually was at every like college tour, everything, and just very supportive. I remember when I made the announcement that I was moving to Italy, like my dad was just like, okay. And like never looked back. And I'm just so grateful that he kept his feelings to himself. When I moved back to America, he said, I'm really happy that you're moving back. And I'm like, you never told me this, but like I'm grateful that my family never kept their worries and their fears, and they never said it to me. They just helped cultivate who I am, and I've never been shy or felt like I don't belong in this space. I don't feel like an imposter because my family really cultivated that energy in me.
That's incredible. Because some parents might be like, I don't know if you're gonna get it. Spoon, what about you and your connection to music, right? Like, what was it that took it past just an appreciation?
Just hearing people's stories and the way people express themselves in their music. I I was raised by my grandparents, and they would host parties, and like I would dance and like try to fake perform in front of everybody, and I was entertaining. And growing from there, I went to middle school and I would do talent shows and just performing. I felt the love for performing and being able to express myself and not worry about nothing. It just felt real free. And that's where the deep connection was just being able to express myself freely and not worry about what anybody had to say, or it was just about how I felt.
And you felt that way from a young age. You felt that ability to not really have that, that second thought about what other people
For
think
sure,
about
for
what you're
sure. I
doing.
used to dance and act crazy, and I never cared. It was just a free feeling, and when I was able to put words behind it, yeah, it was next level. It just made me feel free, and I love to express myself that way.
I love it. Who were some of the artists that you remember growing up, that whether it was at the parties that your grandparents were throwing or what you came to love,
They would
through your
play
own
Earth,
direction?
Wind, and Fire,
Yeah.
bro. That stuck out with me a lot. So it's so much, man. They play so much stuff, but that really stuck with me.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, my mother loves Earth, Wind, and Fire, so of course I do as well. Dennis, how about you? I think the interesting thing in your journey is, you won two Super Bowls, right? I see these rings; they're very nice. And then you retired after 7 years, and you made a transition. Tell us a little bit more about kind of what went into that thought process.
Yeah, like you say, I've been playing sports since I was 3 years old. Whether that was a football, baseball, basketball, soccer ball, whatever it was, I always wanted to be around sport. But I think my dad instilled in me early, no sport is not going to last forever. So you got to make that transition at some point, right? So I think my journey between the NFL and all that too, tried to put the pieces together. How can I be able to be a professional, not only on off the field as well? I think my overall goal was to kind of really be a champion in life as opposed to on the field.
Hmm.
So I think transition to just the fitness world and being a performance coach. That's something it's second nature to me because I do it all the time anyway, right? So I try to inspire a lot of people daily on that, whether that be from a program, whether that be from a challenge or whatever. So my whole transition there was fairly easy for me. I call it work, but it's not work. I'm having fun, really having fun.
Yeah.
With elite athletes and the everyday person too. Just trying to make it, confident in himself.
Do you, because you were, in that space, and you still are very much in that mindset, do you ever lean towards like, I really love and getting to work with an elite athlete today, or is it you have the same approach to everyone?
I do. I have the same approach to everyone. Everybody really wants to be, like I say, a champion in their own right, right? So it's amazing, to go to work and be able to have somebody that's so fragile, and then they get confidence along the way. That really keeps my cup full, and that's the reason why I wake up.
I love it, man. As you think about that transition and that journey that you're in, while I know, the general aspects of that felt second nature to you, did you have access to mentors and some other trainers that were there that were like, yo, Dennis, let me give you some of these gems as you go on this journey? How was like some of that stuff?
I think the course of my time in the NFL, I had so many strength and conditioning coaches that kind of pretty much led the way for me on how to be able to carry yourself. So I think I took that to heart for sure and trying to implement it the best way I know how. I'm a social butterfly for sure. I really am. I like to talk to anybody who's willing to talk to me. I'm always going to challenge someone too, and I would hope somebody returns the favor for me as well. So I'm still a work in progress, but I love the journey and love building it with other people as well.
Yeah, and I think it's beautiful that you thinking about like how you can coach someone to their next place, right? Whether it's mentally, it's physically. It's not about always maybe like these random goals, but it's more so about like holistically, And I like the way that you think about it. I may have to come sign up for a workout.
Oh yeah, please, for sure. It's like one of those things to where like it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So you get it on what you put out of it. So that's what I always try to instill daily.
Absolutely. And now I think also part of your journey is that you're also a director of performance out in LA for Jordan Brand, correct?
Correct.
How does something like that come about, and then what does that mean?
Yeah, when I was playing in the NFL in the off season, I used to come back here and shadow people at Nike. I had so many friends working there and everything. I never really had a corporate job before, so I was always playing sports. So I'm like, man, I know this transition is going to happen sooner than later. NFL is not the National Football League. It's not for long. That's what it stands for, right? So it's one of those things to where I have so many mentors say, like, hey, you got to make the transition a lot easier than what, because most athletes, the transition is a lot harder. You know what I mean? But I think for me, I took it upon myself in the offseason to come back here, shadow people at Nike, just to see what the corporate life was all about. And expanded those 7 years. I think I've generated so many good relationships to where when that time did come in 15, it was a lot easier to transition into that. I told myself, if I can't play the sport anymore, I want to be around sport. I love shoes too. So I put one and two together. I'm like, this is the perfect place for me.
Right.
So I think the transition for me was easy because I was proactive.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where that social butterfly comes into play.
Yeah. Sure.
You know, you knew how to get clients, and then you knew how to, then go on and get brand partners, etc. Right. Alicia, so we know a little bit about your experience as a designer, but I know you have plenty of passions outside of that. From art to nonprofit, and specifically, I wanted to ask you about your nonprofit work. The Black Talent Fund. Tell us a little bit about that story. Like, what inspired you to want to start your own nonprofit?
Sure. So I'm an Aquarius. I think a lot of humanitarianism come with that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But I've always wanted to give back. I love the school setting. I love all of that space. And I remember during the George Floyd memorial service, a president of a university challenged schools in America to set up a foundation for Black students. At that time, I went to a PWI, predominantly white institution. And there, throughout my career, throughout my education, I've always been the only or one of few. And for me, that it always bothered me because I'm that person that I don't want to be the one here. You know how sometimes you can have that, you can meet someone who has that attitude of, oh, it's just room for me, but that's never been me. I'm like, where we at, So at the time, this was during the pandemic, and I was living in Switzerland, and I was feeling away from my community because everybody was protesting in America, and I was just in Switzerland, just there, feeling kind of just unattached to the community at the time. And I'm very proactive, as you were saying as well. And I just started doing some digging. I was painting a lot. And I started selling my paintings, and I've never sold my paintings before, but so many people were getting copies of my prints, of my paintings and things like that. And I ended up making enough to give one student a scholarship in September. And I remember
Congrats.
Thank you. But the story gets a little deeper because here I am boxing myself into this small idea, which could have been something so big that the moment I started talking about it on my LinkedIn, I got my first two sponsors. So Lilith in NYC, which is a local footwear brand, woman-owned, woman founder. And then Target reached out to me to be my official sponsor. So that one student in September ended up being 15 students by October.
Sheesh.
And listen, we sometimes we think so small and we don't realize the impact that others might be wanting to tap into. And from that, the foundation was in 2020, and we've had sponsors like Target, New Balance. That next year, New Balance rolled out their Black History Month collection, and also they announced their partnership with the nonprofit. Again, gave another scholarship to 15 students, and now we're walking into our third year. So if you guys know any students who are studying in their undergraduate year, I'm opening up the application process in September so that we can go on our third round of giving out scholarships. And it's for Black and brown students studying to enter fashion, footwear, design, marketing, just filtrating any area of this industry, because I want to look to my left and I want to see more of us, And I'm just so grateful that something that started off so small ended up growing so much.
Yeah. Dennis, Alicia, Teaspoon, thank y'all so much for taking the time to share and to feed into us this evening. It's always great to be able to hear the different experiences of different creatives and entrepreneurs. And one additional thing I wanted to add to that, since we have so many creatives in Portland in the building right now, is, I've been having a lot of these conversations with folks, whether it's podcasts or panels or whatnot. And there seems to be this conversation around there's this moment that's happening in Portland right now. There's a lot of creative talent here. There's a lot of entrepreneurs here. There's a lot of artists here that are very, very, very good at what they do. And I think the thing that can take Portland to a place that maybe we haven't quite been before is that ability to actually make it feel like a community and to actually support and then actually level up. And when I mean level up, I mean we have to have conversations that are way below the surface. Even if things are not great, they need to be the conversation about why they aren't great. How can we do better? How did you do this? How do you work through this contract? What do you do for legal? What's the insurance? Like, I love to talk to y'all all day about creative process. But what I also feel that we don't talk enough about is the business aspects of being a creative, because it is a part of it. And sometimes that means getting a partner. Sometimes it means getting a lot of partners that are really good at some of these other things that our brain just may not be able to do. We all ain't Alicia. But I think here today, we got a lot of time after we leave here. And I think it's important that we take that time to genuinely connect with one another. If we got folks that y'all been trying to meet, trying to speak with, let's bring down the barriers. Let's speak to one another. Let's share some game. And let's continue to grow this community of creatives and entrepreneurs here in Portland.